but for those that want to travel, I heard something somewhere that made like perfect sense to me and always stuck with me. They said to travel you need three things. It's like time, money, and energy, and never in your life are you gonna have all three. So when you're younger, you have energy and time. You have no money. When you're an adult, you have maybe some money and energy, but you have no time because you're always working. And when you're older, you have some money and time. But you have
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how's everybody doing out there? I'm here with Alex from Living Abroad. We met up, did an interview with Old Dog New Tricks, Paulie in the Philippines, and found Alex a very interesting, intelligent person that has a good outlook on life and different things. All right, so my first question is, when you were working a 9-to-5 job, what made you decide to change your life and go the different path that most people don't take and become a full-time vlogger and make a living from vlogging?
Well, to be honest, it just didn't make sense to me that I would spend most of my life working for nothing, really, just a shelter over my head and some food in my stomach. It wasn't like I was working towards this like grand plan of any kind, and every time I'll be in my office, I'll be looking at the clock, just watching the minutes go by. My mind was somewhere else, like in Thailand. So when I first went to Thailand in 2012, I just loved everything about it, and I wanted to capture that moment forever. So there was no way I was gonna do that working at a 9-to-5. So I decided, you know what, this life is not for me. I have no wife, no kids. I'm an independent person. I can always survive anywhere. So I quit. That was it.
Did your close friends or relatives say that you were crazy? How could a lot of people, they don't understand how YouTube works, and people don't understand that's a full-time job. It's a lot of work. If you do a Google search on the highest paid YouTubers, there's Bald and Bankrupt. He makes like a couple $100,000 a month. You could do pretty good on YouTube. So did anybody have questions about why you would want to give up the 9-to-5 and do what you're doing now?
Of course, people had some reservations, some concerns, and the thing was, when I quit, it wasn't to be a YouTuber, so I had no plan, right? I kind of had a plan, but what I did was I was looking for jobs that were online. So I wanted to do something that was online so I can travel while I'm working. So for me, I reached out to this Chinese company. I was able to get an online teaching job. That's what started everything. So as the years went on, I was working only 4 or 5 hours a day. The salary was great, and I was traveling while working at the same time. So that was basically what kicked off everything. And one day I was in Turkey and I realized there was no tourists because, there was no people. Everybody was on curfew except for tourists. So I was out there looking at these historical places by myself, and I'm like, this would be a waste not to record. So that's what kind of started everything with my YouTube channel.
So would you say traveling is an education in itself, right?
I would say it's the best education you can get, to be honest, unless you want to be a doctor or a scientist, something very specific. I don't even believe in college or university, because I know many people that have degrees and are working in fields that have nothing to do with that, So for those younger people, unless you want to do something specific, my suggestion would be don't waste your time, don't waste your years chasing something that's like business administrative or something that doesn't really prepare you for real life, But for me, yeah, definitely travel is very educational, and not only with facts, but with people too. You get to meet people, you get to learn about the culture, the food, the music, the lifestyle. Everything is just brand new. Every country I travel to is like I'm being born again every single time. So that's why I love it.
What would be the biggest stressors in your life so there's a reliability factor where you have a constant check coming in, and you don't have to sweat things like, oh, I got bills coming up, and it's not a steady paycheck. Is it basically up to you? The sky's the limit?
It is up to me. The thing is that traveling and working online, you're always gonna have opportunities if you're a Canadian like I am. Many companies, if you want to work online, being a native English speaker is really beneficial. And whether you're from Australia, Canada, the US, many companies will pay you, even if you work 2 or 3 hours a day, it's enough for you to survive, especially in countries like the Philippines or Thailand or Vietnam, Mexico, or some of these countries. So the good thing is cost of living is really low when you travel, when you're single. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't live lavishly. For me, anywhere around 1,000 to 1,200 USD really goes a long way, and I can do that by renting out my home, by making YouTube videos, by I do a couple of little things here, and so definitely for me that sense of security is there because my cost isn't that high compared to living in Canada.
The last time you exchanged money or the last time you checked, what is the exchange rate in the Philippines at this point in time?
The last time I know about it was 1 USD equals 57 pesos, which is really high.
Yeah, I think it's at an all-time high at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's only been that high at maybe 4 or 5 times in the past. If you go way back to the 60s, it was a lot higher back then. So do you ever have plans to settle down, have a wife, kid, dog? You already have the house.
I already had all those things.
Okay.
So I'm open to the idea, to be honest, at some point in my life. But right now, because I'm so unstable when it comes to my physical location, and I don't want to drag anybody along with me unless I'm 100% certain that I'm not taking them away from something better that they have for themselves. Maybe once I'm a little bit more stable, if the YouTube channel continues to grow, when I can actually feel responsible for someone else. Because I know, women don't need my help. They're independent, a lot of them that I talk to, but I still want to be in a relationship where I can, if worst comes to worst, I can be there for my partner. And mentally, financially, like emotionally, I'm all over the place right now. So right now, nowhere in the near future, but I'm open to the idea for sure.
What would be your ideal partner, and what qualities would you look for in this woman that hasn't showed up on the scene yet?
Well, maybe she has already showed up on the scene, but I'm just not quite ready. It's just, for me,
Okay.
a sense of humor is huge. So someone that's just a happy person, that laughs. I don't care about physical or financial or social status of any kind. As long as she's like willing to put in the effort of support me in any way, my decisions. Ideally, she can travel, of course. If she works online, that'll be perfect. Anything else, I'm really easygoing when it comes to my relationships. As long as they're a good human being, that are considerate, that don't talk down to people. That's my biggest things.
So personality goes a long way with you.
For sure. Because after a week or so, physical appearance becomes secondary. It's the person that you're actually getting to know that's important. So.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. So when are you leaving?
So I'm leaving the Philippines today, actually. So today is my last day here in the Philippines. So by the time you guys are probably seeing this, I'm on an airplane or already in Canada or something.
How long have you been staying in the Philippines?
I've been here for 5.5 months now. So yeah, I'm getting close to 6 months.
One takeaway, if you could say one thing about the Philippines, one thing that sticks out the most out of all the different things that happen in life, what would it be?
I've noticed that here in the Philippines, the people are happy regardless of what they're going through in life. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know their living situations. But for example, anywhere from a high-rise condo to living in like the slum area that I walk through just to get to a different area or just to see if I could find some street food, people are genuinely happy. They're smiling. They just make you feel you should be more appreciative of what you have. So for me, that's great to see that the people are extremely happy here.
And what is the plans for the future? So you're going back to check on a house.
Yep.
What do you think the next destination is going to be? Do you have a list, or do you have one particular place on your mind?
Not right now, but I'll tell you this. Subscribe to Living Abroad and you guys can find out where I'm going next. So I don't quite know yet, but check out the channel for content about where I'm going to be going next, which country I'm going to be at. But maybe I'll give you a couple of hints. So either I'm going to go down to like South America. We'll start with Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, do all those countries, or I'm going to go to the middle of Asia somewhere. So.
Do you think the people from South America are very similar to the people in the Philippines?
I've heard that, and I could pretty much see why that would be. I know religion is a huge factor in both countries and areas, as well as family traditions and values, right? So those two main things, I think, what makes people similar. And I know, of course, like the historically, Philippines has a huge connection with Spain and the whole Latin vibe. So yeah, I think there might be a lot of similarities. And cost of living, I think, is going to be similar too.
Out of your whole entire life, what is the most memorable event that you think back on and puts the biggest smile on your face and just fills your heart with joy? The biggest thing ever that you could just think there was a moment in my life that I just think about it and my face lights up and my heart is filled with joy. What would that be?
That's a deep question, sir. You got me all thinking now.
Take your time. There's no rush to answer.
Okay, so
I'm just curious. Something that really moved you, and every once in a while, maybe you're down and out, or you're just reminiscing or thinking about something. What is that? Something that happened to you within your lifetime that is what I'm describing. What would it be?
Yeah, I think one thing that pops into my mind. When I was younger, I was really athletic and I played soccer. And I went to Spain to see a soccer game in Barcelona. So I remember just going on to the Camp Nou and being there for the first time with 90,000 people is something that always sticks in my mind. So for me, just to see like Messi and Neymar at the time and some of my favorite players that I watch on TV in real life kicking a ball, it was really, really something exciting for me at the time.
I saw Pele. I don't know if you know who Pele is in soccer. I think it was in the 1980s, and it's pretty fascinating. What was that kick that he used to do where he used to kick the ball halfway down the soccer field? I don't know, it was a scissor kick. He used to kick it backwards, going the opposite way.
Scissor kick, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. That was a great memory. So that's something that's, I look back at, and I'm glad I did, because after that season, like, all those players went to different teams and it just wasn't the same. So I got to watch it like one last time, so it was great.
Do you have a college degree? What's your education?
0. I'm street driven. I got no education of any kind. I'm a dum-dum.
See, the thing is, I would hire Alex before I hired somebody with 2 master's degree and had a 4.0
GPA.
average in college. Because Alex has a lot of determination and drive and a very high spirit and a lot of light. For the Masons that are out there watching, they understand what I'm talking about the light, or just people in general with religion. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. So Alex, tell me about we were just talking off camera. Tell me about the Western mentality and meeting a girl in the Philippines. Could you elaborate on that?
Of course. So I think for those that don't know or haven't been to the Philippines, here, because the people are so nice and the language is so widely spoken, and you can really have an easy conversation with somebody at a cafe, at the grocery store, someone in the lobby of your building. People are open to talking to you as a person, as a human being. So that really opens up meeting someone here, and it's super easy. It's not like the West where people are a little bit colder, especially between the 2 different sexes. Not everybody's thinking you want something from them immediately, and generally speaking, people are a lot more open to just entertaining what you have to say. Now, if somebody's in a relationship or taken, they'll simply let you down in a kind way, in a polite way. They don't really make you feel like ashamed of yourself for trying to engage in a conversation. So that's one thing I love about life here and in relationships. And you can meet women everywhere here. Like online, of course, like everywhere else, the cafes, the bars, just in IT Park, in the malls, people's friends, they got friends. It's really easy to connect with people here in the Philippines.
So before you came to the Philippines, I don't want to say you assumed anything.
Yep.
What about the food here? What were you hearing? And I make assumptions about certain things in my life, and I shouldn't, because I make an ass out of me and you, whatever they say. So what do you think about the food over here?
So before coming here, I had no idea what Filipinos ate, to be honest. I know there's some Filipino festivals in Toronto where they have these, a whole 2 days of like celebration, but I never actually ate the food. I know they had lechon, the pork, but I don't eat pork. But aside from that, I had no idea. initially when I came here, I had just come from Thailand, and for me, I thought the food was gonna be similar. So at the beginning, I had a little bit of trouble adjusting to different like flavors and textures and cooking methods, and I wasn't a big fan of the Filipino food. But now I've started to just appreciate it a little bit more. Went to authentic kitchens. I tried different dishes and new foods. So I'm getting really used to eating Filipino food. At first, I didn't really like it too much, but if you open your mind, you can find some real good dishes here.
So, not working a 9-to-5 job
Yeah.
and switching careers, do you think there's a lot of fear people have about just going out there and doing it? Like, try something new and, what do you think about
Yeah,
that?
because we're wired that way. We're always built to like think, oh, what if this happens? What's the worst case scenario? But what's more scary to me is like wasting your whole life, a 9 to 5, and waking up one day and not having that desire to want more, right? Because what you're feeling now may not be the same 15 years from now, 20 years from now. You may not want to travel by then, and you just maybe miss this opportunity you had. And for me, like I mentioned earlier, because I'm single, no wife, no kids, I'm independent, and I don't owe any money to anybody. It was just a risk that was definitely worth the reward, and it's been the best decision I made. It's not easy to get out of your comfort zone, but like I'd rather like die knowing I tried and failed than to die knowing I never tried at all. So yeah.
Would you agree that failure is a learning experience?
It's the best learning experience, right? Every day I fail, and to some degree. But whether it's making YouTube videos, whether I'm talking to somebody, try to do like a random street interview in relationships and life, with finances. But as long as you don't keep making the same mistake, you're learning. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I have a problem with my failures. It gets a little bit overwhelming. But the motivation, I just got to stay motivated and stay hungry.
It's true.
So you're going to, what is the flight itinerary when you leave?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. So I'm gonna go from Cebu to Incheon in Korea, and from Korea to New York, and from New York to Canada. So yeah.
Do you have any plans in the future to visit Korea?
I do. I wanted to visit last year actually, but the 2-week quarantine, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to do it. At some point, when I come back to Asian side, I'll definitely do Japan and Korea on top of my list.
That sounds like a really good idea.
Can't wait. Yeah.
Had a lot of Japanese and Korean friends when I lived in Hawaii back in the day.
Yeah.
If you could leave a message for the viewers, one thing at the end of this interview, what would it be? What would you want to say to everybody?
I've said this maybe once or twice before in my life, but for those that want to travel, I heard something somewhere that made like perfect sense to me and always stuck with me. They said to travel you need 3 things. It's like time, money, and energy, and never in your life are you gonna have all 3. So when you're younger, you have energy and time, you have no money. When you're an adult, you have maybe some money and energy, but you have no time because you're always working. And when you're older, you have some money and time, but you have no energy. So there's not going to be any time in your life where you're going to have the perfect situation to travel or to do something outside your comfort zone. So my advice would be to just do it and don't wait for anybody to tell you. Don't listen to anybody. If there's something you want to do, just go ahead and live your life.
Yeah, a lot of people said I was crazy. They probably say you're crazy too about, making a life change like that. But I agree with you 1,001% that you're making the right decision.
Thank you.
Alex has high energy and a positive spirit. It's like his aura. I'm not into, reading cards. Or you just feel it and you just know. The minute you meet somebody, I could see it in his eyes. Eyes are a window to the soul, and I think Alex I know, just keeps grinding and going in the same direction, and the never quit attitude. He's going to be big on YouTube, and the subs are coming up. I checked, what was it? Calvin, I think you had 5,000 subs. How many months ago was that?
That was like 5 months ago when I first came here. It was at only 3,000 something actually, and now it's over 23,000. So yeah.
That's telling you something. All right, bro. It was nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too.
And we'll see each other again.
For sure.
All right, my brother.
See you guys.